Hello, this is the General Hospital Review, the Daily Soap Opera Chronicles, for 8/29/16. It was a pretty good episode, a climax of one of the stories, well, possibly a climax of one of the stories. Let's get into it. So the episode starts out with Dante overhearing Lulu argue on the phone, demanding some answers about the Crichton Clark explosion. Robert shows up. He says Luke wanted him to assure her that he is far from dead. They talk about Luke and his dark days before he left town. They then discuss Valentine and how he is back in Greece, put away for Nick's murder. Robert says Luke warned him that Valentine is dangerous, and if he escapes, he's going to continue this vendetta against the Spencers. Dante thinks that Valentine is not going to escape a maximum prison. He also thinks Valentine had a grudge about his own family. He has a grudge against the Cassidines, not the Spencers. Robert is going to look into this more regardless. Lulu wants a favor from Robert to research if something survived the explosion of Crichton Clark. I don't know about this whole Lulu thing. We'll get more into that in a while. You have Ava warning Hayden that Liz plans to hand her over to the feds. She's got the diamonds. That bitch has my diamonds, she says. Ava says, shouldn't those be the government diamonds, not hers? Ava warns that that Liz may turn the diamonds into the feds, and they won't be happy that Hayden kept them for herself, since they were supposed to be turned into the government. Hayden says she's going to have to leave town. Ava advises her to take a bus since she is on the no-fly list. Ava wonders why the authorities haven't come for her yet. She thinks maybe Liz hasn't done anything with them and hopes to stop her in time. Liz does make a phone call to Jordan. She says that she's come into some evidence. She wants to come in and talk to her after work. Finn overhears this and asks her why she's planning to visit the police. He was wondering if she had a lead on the killing. She doesn't, but says everyone is on edge about them. Finn then sees Monica and says he has to give a complaint about a staff member. Then at the prison, we have Heather spilling to Franco about Naomi's past with Jeff Weber and her brat Hayden. He asks what Elizabeth's dad has to do with this. She says she cannot go on because she is a woman of her word, even though Naomi stopped making payments months ago. This frustrates Franco. He says maybe there's a way for her to tell him everything and still keep her word. I like these scenes between Heather and Franco when we get them. They are a wacky mother and son for sure, but I think it's entertaining most of the time. We have Andre dropping by to see Jordan. He hands her a book on collectible currency. He hoped it would help her track the cufflinks. She wonders why he's so invested in this. He says he's just a collector. He used to be nerdy, apparently, when he was younger. Back to Franco and Heather. Franco asks Heather questions hypothetically because she says she wanted to keep her word. If things are possible and stuff like that, and hopes to get answers from her hypothetically. He asks hypothetically if she was obsessed with Jeff Weber. She says it's possible. He asks if it's hypothetical that she stalked him. She says hardly. She says that she was keeping an eye on him and breaking into his house without his knowledge. He says that is pretty much the definition of stalking. She says she learned of a street secret of his, that Jeff was having an affair with Naomi. Monica and Finn talked about Dr. Obrecht and how she wanted Monica to fire Finn. Finn isn't afraid of filing a complaint against her also, because he isn't afraid of a fight with her. Now back to Lulu telling Robert that she may have left an embryo there. He offers to look in the records to see if they're there. Should an embryo survive an explosion? Really? Really? Come on now. Okay, so Jordan wants to talk to Ava. because she thinks she might be an expert to help with the cufflinks and all that because of her history with artwork. She asks Ava if she recognizes the piece, and Ava does. She says there was a big market for them a few years ago. She also is sure she saw someone wearing them. We have Andre going down the hall of the hospital to see a patient. Moments later, there is beeping, and Monica and Finn race down to find Andre trying to keep the patient alive. However, the patient dies. Andre says that he just grabbed his chest and died. Monica wants Liz to call the cops. Andre says he was here the whole time. Nobody came in and killed him. He then realizes that Monica might suspect him of being the killer. Paul arrives, and Monica, Maddox, and Finn fill him in. He gives them permission to run a blood test and asks Andre to stay there. But Andre, however, threatens to talk to Jordan about this. Paul just wants him to stay put. Back to Heather and Franco as they continue to talk about Jeff Weber and Naomi and their affair. Heather then talks about how she found a positive pregnancy test and that Naomi was pregnant with Jeff Weber's baby. She says 3 Weber girls, and Jeff didn't know about the third one. Franco is confused at first, but then realizes that Hayden is Elizabeth's sister. And of course, right at that moment, Hayden arrives at the hospital to confront Liz, finally. Franco says he has to tell Liz. Heather says he cannot. Liz and Hayden have their confrontation over the diamonds. Hayden says Liz is a hypocrite for keeping Jason away from everyone, that she acts like a goody two-shoes but isn't. She continues to go in on Liz until Liz says the diamonds are all on Hayden. She says some quip about that it's too bad her and her father can't share a jail cell, and Hayden slaps her. Heather tells Franco not to tell Liz, but he seems intent on doing so. And then back to the hospital, Finn comes between Liz and Hayden. Liz says she will talk to Monica before she goes to the police station, taunting Hayden with that comment. Hayden tells Finn he should have let her kick Liz's ass. Now, a lot was packed into this episode, especially the last 10 minutes or so. So bear with me here. So Liz storms off. She goes to Monica's office and finds Paul there. He claims he's just filling out paperwork, but when she leaves, it is revealed that he's wearing gloves and has a syringe. Dun dun dun. Hayden tells Finn she is going to make sure Elizabeth keeps her mouth shut, and Hayden goes and storms off. Back to the police station, where Jordan gives Ava a photo of the cufflinks in case it helps her remember who she saw the cufflinks on. She walks off, and Ava flashes back to seeing the cufflinks on Paul. Back at the hospital, Paul's not pleased that Elizabeth saw him in Monica's office, and he storms off. We then get Monica getting a confirmation that the patient that died of natural causes. Andre is pleased to hear this, but is not pleased that they thought he might have been the killer. Finn says, "Tell me about it," basically. Then at the end, Liz is leaving down the stairs when the lights go out. She drops a purse, then she turns the flashlight on her phone. However, she is shoved down the stairs and we fade out. A nice final half of that episode. I mean, the whole episode was good. I didn't think I'd ever like GH again, but having watched it a little more at a time over the last few weeks, there is some good stuff. It is watchable day to day, entertaining. The whole killer storyline seemed pretty weak, though. And like I said in one of the last podcasts I did on GH, that I don't know a lot of these characters, like Paul, for instance. Or Hayden. There's a lot of characters I'm just catching up on now, but it's working for me as a whole. Like I said, I liked the Franco-Heather interactions. They are entertaining together. I mean, they both entertain separately, too. But yeah, and they had a good cliffhanger with Liz getting pushed down the stairs. I'm sure she'll be okay, but who knows? I'm sure it was probably Paul, I would think, trying to kill her. I don't think it's Hayden, but maybe it is, and we'll be surprised. I am looking forward to tomorrow's episode. GH and YNR are working for me. The 2 soaps I'm going to do next are not working for me, Days and B&B, so I guess stay tuned for that if you want to see ranting and raving on sucky soap opera. Thank you for watching this. Please visit boxoftalks.com, boxoftalks.com. See you tomorrow with more GH.